You step outside for a moment, maybe to grab something from the car. Maybe to check the mail, glance at the sky, register the temperature, and go back inside where the real world lives. Walls, lights, screens, schedules. Now hold that in your head and realize something that should feel impossible. For most of human history, there wasn't an inside the way you mean it. Your ancestors didn't visit nature. They lived inside it the way you live inside a building. The sky wasn't something they glanced at. It was the ceiling of everything they knew. Which raises a question most people never think to ask. What did Earth actually look like to ancient humans before engines, before artificial light, before cities, before glass separated us from weather? The answer isn't just prettier. It was louder, darker, sharper, and more informative, like the planet itself was constantly broadcasting signals and the human body was built to read them. Start with the night sky, because that's the most measurable gap between their world and yours. You've probably seen the Milky Way in photos, but most people have never seen it the way it looked for the majority of human existence. Under truly dark conditions, far from artificial light, the sky isn't a faint smudge. It's a dense, bright band of stars so thick it changes how the night feels. There's a famous modern example of how extreme this difference is. When a major power outage hit Los Angeles in the 1990s, people reportedly called emergency services about a strange cloud in the sky. It wasn't a cloud. It was the Milky Way, visible for the first time in their lives. Your ancestors didn't have to drive 2 hours to see it. It was overhead, every clear night, for their entire lives. And when something is always there, it stops being beautiful. It becomes functional. It becomes a calendar, a clock, a navigation surface, a repeating pattern you can learn. But the sky was only one layer, and honestly, it might have been the easiest one, because it didn't require you to move. The bigger difference is that ancient humans weren't just observers of nature, they were fluent in it. There's a difference between observing and fluency. If you visit a country where you don't speak the language, you can observe people talking. But a native speaker is inside the language. Meaning lands before conscious translation. For ancient humans, the landscape was like that. Not scenery. A living language. Think about what information meant before writing. Today, if you want information, you check a screen. Ancient humans checked the world. Wind wasn't just wind. It carried temperature shifts, moisture hints, and scent trails. Clouds weren't just clouds. Their shape and movement implied what the weather might do next. The horizon wasn't just a view. It was where dust could reveal animals, where smoke could signal other humans, where movement could mean danger. And because people lived outside constantly, they didn't need to memorize a list of rules the way a modern person studies a guide. Their bodies internalized patterns through repetition, not as a hobby, as survival. This is why tracking looks supernatural to modern people. But it's really what happens when a pattern-detecting brain spends its entire life in a pattern-rich environment. What looks like nothing to you, a scuff of dust, a bent blade of grass, a tiny change in pebbles, can be readable to someone trained by necessity. To them, the ground isn't ground. It's a page. And they don't read it slowly. They read it at speed, because their lives depended on it. Now add sound. Modern life either overwhelms you with noise or isolates you in silence. Ancient Earth was different. A layered soundscape, birds, insects, frogs, wind through different plants. Distant animal movement, the subtle change in tone when something large moves nearby. In a living ecosystem, sound isn't background music. It's a monitoring system. A sudden silence in the wrong moment can mean something entered the area. A specific cluster of alarm calls can point to direction and type of threat. Even today, some animals produce different alarm calls for different dangers. And other species respond differently, meaning the environment can function like an early warning network if your ears are trained to interpret it. Ancient humans didn't just hear the world. They listened the way you listen when your safety depends on a dot, and then there's smell. The sense modern life trains you to ignore. But the human nose is far more capable than our lifestyles require. In a world without constant synthetic odor, the landscape produces a readable chemical layer, wet earth before rain, plant oils released when disturbed, animal scent trails, water sources, smoke, decay, flowering cycles. If your survival depends on finding water, your relationship to smell changes. If your survival depends on knowing what's nearby before you see it, your relationship to smell changes. Ancient Earth didn't just look different. It signaled differently. At this point, people usually romanticize it. That must have been peaceful. But it wasn't peaceful. It was alive, and alive includes danger. Weather could kill you. Animals could kill you. Infection could kill you. Rival humans could kill you. So ancient life involved constant scanning. But here's the twist. The type of stress matters. Modern stress is often low-grade, chronic, and unresolved notifications. Social pressure, money anxiety, endless small demands with no clear finish line. In many traditional lifestyles, stress can be more acute and physical short spikes tied to real events, followed by actual recovery when the event ends. That doesn't mean ancient life was easier. It means the nervous system wasn't being kept half on forever by artificial demands that never fully resolve. This connects to another modern finding. Natural environments can restore a kind of attention that urban life continuously drains. Not because nature is pretty, but because your sensory system evolved inside it. In a natural environment, your attention can widen, tracking movement, depth, and sound without constant forced decisions. After even a short time, many people feel mentally clearer. And when people spend multiple days away from screens and constant inputs, research often finds improvements in certain kinds of creative problem solving. The mechanical idea is simple. The part of your brain used for intense, focused work needs recovery time like a muscle. Modern life rarely gives it. A less artificial environment does. So what did Earth look like to ancient humans? It looked like a world that was speaking constantly through light, movement, texture, sound, wind, scent, and temperature. A world where your survival depended on your ability to interpret signals you barely notice today. And your body wasn't just capable of reading it. Your body was built to. And that's where the modern world gets strange. Because you still have the same hardware. You still have peripheral vision that flinches at sudden movement. You still have a threat detection system that scans for signals. You still have a brain designed to become fluent in its environment. But instead of reading clouds and bird alarms, that system now reads notification icons, email subject lines, and the tone of a text message. The signal changed. The machinery didn't single quotes T. So the point isn't we made the wrong trade. Comfort, medicine, safety, warmth, and food security are not small wins. The point is to understand what we traded away, the default condition of being embedded in a living landscape that constantly trained the senses and shaped the mind. We didn't just lose stars. We lost fluency. We lost the feeling of living inside the world instead of visiting it between indoor tasks. And if you stepped outside today for 30 seconds and glanced at the sky, something older in you probably noticed more than you think. Because beneath modern life, your brain is still built for a planet that talks. It's just waiting for enough darkness, quiet, and time to hear it again. If you want more videos like this, ancient human behavior, ancient life, and the world your body was built for, subscribe. Sources and references are linked in the description. See you in the next one.